Now, if you're a service provider or a coach, you know that it's a ton of work, like a lot of manual stuff, admin work that you don't want to be doing, but you kind of have to do every day. And trust me, I've been doing this for 7 years, so I've been there. But about 80% of that work can now be pretty much automated with AI. And that's time that you can be spending doing actual client work or just grow the business and things that you actually want to be doing. So today I'm going to be showing you 5 super simple AI automation that you can start implementing today. So as I said, I've been doing this for about 7 years now, over 300 clients, service providers, coaches, and I promise you can implement those AI automations today without being techy. All right, so let's get into it with this first one. And this first one is just about reposting your social media content to other platforms. And it looks a lot harder than it actually is. So the trigger that I have right now is just a click on the workflow. Let me zoom in here. You can have different things. If something is added to the Google Sheet, that could be the trigger. But for now, it's just a click just to test the workflow. Also, you don't have to have this WordPress post in the middle. That's just if you have your blog content that you want to repurpose to other platforms. That's why it's in there, but you can totally just remove it. So the first nod here is going to be just to ask AI to understand what the post is about and what we want it to do. So the prompt is very simple, and it's just for the model to understand what the post is about and what we're expecting here. So I'm using GPT-4o Mini here, but you can use Gemini 2.5 if you want as well, because that will be free. Honestly, I think the result will be pretty similar, but I just kind of like the GPT-4o model for this. So feel free to do that. If you have API, if you're paying already, then you might as well just use it. Okay, so the next step in the process is that now that we have the AI actually understanding what the post is about and what we're expecting from it, then we're sending to the different platforms. So at the time of this recording, the new GPT-4o images that you've seen everywhere is not available for API. So the images that we're currently creating here is done with DALL-E, which is not great. You can have other models that are currently available, which is not with OpenAI, but you have other image generation models. I think the API will come out pretty soon for the new 4o images that, again, you've seen everywhere. So that would be probably a good thing to update here. But again, at the time of this recording, it's just not available. Anyway, so from there, this is going to be creating images for the different social platforms. So we have LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and X right here. And then the last step is just to go back to the Google Sheets. If you want to keep track of this stuff on a Google Sheets, just go back to the Google Sheets and say that it's okay, it's been published, and it's already here. Now, if you wanted to, you could add a human in the loop step in this process. That's probably what I would do personally, because I don't necessarily trust the AI to get it perfectly every time. So I would prefer to have a step where I can validate that I actually like the output of the post, and I can make some changes if I wanted to before it goes live. And so in that case, what you would have to do is just to come to any of these nodes and add this human in the loop step, which again will send you a message. You can determine where to send that message and example for the post that the AI came up with, whether that's Gmail, Discord. You can have also Slack or WhatsApp if you're using that, Telegram. So essentially, it will send you the post, the draft for the post, what it would look like, and then you just have to approve or ask it to make some changes, and then it's going to just iterate until you're happy with it. And then when you do approve, then it's going to continue with the rest of the workflow and publish it on the social media platform. Okay, so the second automation is going to be about pre-drafting emails from what's coming into your inbox. If you're a service provider or a coach, just like I am, this is a lot of time wasting that you spend in emails, just replying to clients, replying to anyone that just emails you for everything and anything. And it would be great if AI could just sort of do the legwork and pre-draft a response to that email before it goes out and before you have to do it yourself, essentially. So the trigger here is going to be for whenever we receive an email. Now we have Gmail here. You can have Outlook or whichever email provider you're using. And then we have AI, again, GPT-4o Mini, but you can change that to something else. That's going to assess, first of all, whether the email actually needs a reply. You might get a ton of emails like a receipt or an invoice or something else that just doesn't require you to reply to the email. So that's going to be the first nod here. And when we have assessed this, so obviously if it doesn't need a reply, then you don't draft an email. But when you do need a reply, then we have another AI node here that is going to draft the email. So I'm going to show you the prompt here, but again, all of these are going to be in the description and those templates. You can just import it into your N88 account and you will see this prompt that you can change as well. But essentially, we're just reading the email and we're just, drafting replies on my behalf. I would recommend here to add a bit more context to, what you do, how you sort of tone of voice, what you typically do for clients, and how you want to reply to them. But that's sort of what we're having here with this system prompt. And that's pretty much it. And then it's just creating a draft. Again, I don't recommend just sending the response directly from what AI has generated, but this is just about creating the draft so that when you go into your Gmail, then you can see the pre-written draft and adjust it and then actually send it. Okay, and then moving on to the third automation. And this one, I'm going to try to simplify it as much as possible. If you haven't seen RAG systems before, but essentially what we're trying to do here is that we're going to try to put all of our documents, all of our client stuff, everything that we want to be searching at some point into the system so that we can just Command F or Control F and do a quick search on something. Now, this will use what's called a vector database. So I'm going to explain what it is in a second. You don't need to understand the tech part of it, but it's good for you to understand what's happening here. But essentially, we're going to put everything into this database so that when we prompt the AI and ask it something, then it will be able to find those documents a lot more efficiently. So essentially, the first step is going to be whenever we had a Google Drive documents. So probably you would have a Google Drive, you would add all of your documents on there, and then it will proceed and put everything into that database. So that's a trigger. So whenever a file is created into the Google Drive, or whenever a file, is updated into the Google Drive. And then we're going to download it, and then we're going to pass it on to the vector database. So a vector database, I'm going to put a visual here on the screen, but essentially it's just a way to categorize words, a way to categorize documents. So if you were just to ask, I don't know, if you have a massive document and you just do a Control F, what it would do is that it would look line by line to find the word that you're looking for. But if you're using a vector database, then it will take actual context for this word so that it can find it into this sort of 3D chart that you see here on the screen. Again, you don't need to understand this. Just know that it's a lot more efficient than just doing a Control F or a search into your Google Drive. But again, the use for you is to be able to find something easily into your mountain of files that you probably have on your computer. So for example, if you're looking for a certain set of deliverables that we promise to a client, and that's going to be in the client's contract, instead of having to sift through all of your files and find the contract, read through it, find the deliverables, now you can just go into this vectorial database, prompt the AI to find the information and just give it back to you. So again, this first automation is just about putting all of these files into the database so that you can prompt it and the AI can easily find it, find the context for it, and just give it back to you in plain text formats so that you don't have to do all of the searching yourself. So anyway, for this, you will need a Pinecone account that you can get for free. I'm going to leave a link in the description if you want to go ahead and do that. And again, we need something to parse and find the data. So that's what this part here is for. But again, you don't really have to worry about it. Just import it into your account, leave those settings as they are, and just connect your Pinecone account. All right, so these were 3 n8n templates that you can go ahead and implement today. But again, you don't need to understand everything about n8n. Like I know there's a lot of tutorials online about this platform, and it's great. And that's something that I'm going to be recommending a lot. But you don't need to understand all of the technical nuances about it. All you need to understand is globally how the workflow is working, how to connect your accounts, how to fine tune it, and make sure that it's giving you the output that you're looking for. And that's pretty much it. But this last tool is actually not an n8 template. It's going to be a standalone AI tool that's called Gling, and that's for those of you that actually use videos for your content. So if you are, you also know that it takes a ton of work, and if you don't have an editor, that can be a lot of hours that you spend every week editing your video. Even if it's just for shorts that you're doing on TikTok or Reels on Instagram, these actually take a lot of time to edit. So I'm going to show you this AI tool that should help a lot with that, and that's the one that I'm using personally, so that's something that I can really vouch for. So let me walk you through it right here. So essentially what this tool does is that if you drop your raw footage, so let's say you're recording with a camera or your phone. So if you create those videos that you know that, there's gonna be times where you have a bad cut. So you can stop mid-sentence, or something's gonna happen in your video, or you're gonna say something that you don't mean to say, or you're gonna slur your words. And what this tool will do is that it will find the actual good cut, the one where you didn't mess up, essentially, and then just do all of that editing for you. So Let me show you how it works. So this is this was the raw footage for my previous video. And as you can see, the AI was able to see that, well, obviously when I say start recording, that's not something that we want to keep in the video, is it? So it will be able to tell that this was not intended, not a good cut, that I didn't say it correctly, and I had a ton of stops and trying to say it the right way, try to overthink it, and then actually just keeps the one where it actually went with the full content without stopping and actually a good cut. Now, it's very simple once you have it to then say, well, actually, no, I did want this cut, so let me put this back in, and I would uncut it and it would add it back to the video. Or if you actually think, well, that this one was actually not a good cut, so I'm going to cut this early sentence. Or for example, if they are just part of the cut that you don't want to keep, then you can also go ahead and here, delete, and it will only keep this one. And again, it will edit the video as you're deleting the script or adding back what it cut already. So again, the point of this tool is that all of the back cuts, all of the things that you don't want to keep it in video, instead of having to manually do it in the editing software that you're using and just trying to drag the little cursor and delete those little scenes, it's a lot easier to go ahead and delete specific text in this transcribe that will automatically be removing that part at the video as well. And again, this is all done automatically using the software, using AI. It will sort of detect all of this stuff and then just keep the good ones. There's a few other things that you can do with the tool that I don't use that much myself, but if you wanted to add some AI generated B-roll, I don't recommend it, but you can do that. And enhancing the audio is pretty cool. If you're doing sort of short form videos, maybe you want to add some smart caption and it will just add the caption for you. The main part that I'm using it for, as I said, is just to cut out the bad part, the bad takes that I made, rather than really using it as an editing software. So I just sort of then took this clean footage of the take that I want, and then I put that into my editing software for further animations or things that I want to add. But this already saves me 2 to 3 hours editing and going through the raw footage, the bad takes, and what I want to remove, instead of just having the clean footage that I can then go ahead and edit. That's it for today, and I hope those automations are getting you excited about using AI into your business and saving time, saving money, and saving a lot of headache and having to do all of this stuff manually. I know it really did for me in my service business, so I hope it helps you as well. Now, if you want to know more about the kind of AI news that you should keep updated about, I made a whole video about, as a business owner, which one you should actually pay attention to and which one are just the hype. And if you want more AI automations and tips for service providers and coaches like yourself, then you could go ahead and subscribe to my free newsletter. I'm going to put that in the description as well. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.